Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at the Revoltech, or rather the legacy of Revoltech, Evangelion Type 06. This is from Evangelion 2.0. So this guy is pretty cool. He comes with a lot of accessories. He comes with one really unique accessory, which I like a whole bunch, and it is a Revoltech, so be prepared for interesting joint design, and generally interesting stylings, but it's not so noticeable on the Evangelion figure, so I think that's kind of a good thing. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy standing mostly straight up and down, about 14.5 centimeters to the top of his head, about 16 to the top of the shoulder pad, which makes him about 5 3/4 and then about 6 1/4. So it's decent size. Of course, if you hunch it over, it'll be shorter, and you can probably straighten it up a little bit more, but that's going to be up to you. Now, you're probably wondering, why is the shoulder pad off? And that's because it won't stay on. It does have just a standard straight peg on top of a little ball hinge, which I'll show you when we go through the articulation, but this one on his left side, your right side, it just won't stay on. It's not a tight fit, so it falls right off. So it's going to stay off, otherwise it'll just keep falling off as I do the review. Now, before we get into the figure, let's talk accessories. He has the two kind of style pose hands that come on him in the package, 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, 2 secondary gripping hands, 2 kind of weird open hands that are for style poses, I guess, 2 clenched open hands, and 2 slightly less clenched open hands. So plenty of options for the hands. And then of course he has the spear that you saw on the turnaround, very nicely detailed, looks pretty good. Be aware the peg on the spear doesn't fit that well into the peg holes on the hands. It's going to take some work to get them in there. Be very careful you don't break it. And then lastly, we have this multiple part accessory, which is the display stand and the light up moon and a secondary head with a light up feature. Now, how that works is the display stand is garbage. Like all Revoltech display stands, it's just a really terrible design, and you're basically going to break it by putting it together, and you're definitely going to break it by using it. But beyond that, we have this moon accessory, which is a semi-translucent moon, and then it comes with this little halo piece and a straight piece, and then you have the alternate head, which goes on the figure like normal, but it connects to this, and it has a little switch back here, so you turn the switch on, and the moon lights up, and it sends light through this tube, through the face, and out of the visor. Now, I know it's hard to see on here. I'll take a picture of it with the lights off so you can see it. It's very cool, though, and it has a really nice silhouette effect, the way it lights up behind the figure, and then the eyes are glowing. It looks like it came right out of the anime, so that's pretty awesome. I like that a whole bunch, and then you have a peg here, of course, to hold the figure up. So you peg it in, you swap out the head, and then you have yourself a new look. It's a very specific look, but still it's a very nice thing that they added that. I like that a whole bunch. So now let's run through the rest of the figure. The paint job's clean. It's not 100% perfect, but it's definitely good enough, and the spots that are line work oriented, they're fairly nicely done. I'm very pleased with it for the most part. I like it. The colors are nice and saturated. We have a glossy, almost metallic finish to most of it, so it's very cool. I like it a lot. In fact, I really like the face, the way they did that with the little visor spot and the paint job around it and everything. It's just a very nice looking figure. Now, as far as articulation goes, as you would expect, we do have some issues, but for the most part, it's okay. We have a ball hinge for the head, so it can move around pretty much in any direction. The neck itself is on another, I think it's on another ball hinge, is it? Yes, it's another ball hinge. Every part of this guy comes apart very easily, and it's actually pretty problematic, but that's the nature of Revoltech figures. So really good range for the head, and their goofy neck articulation works really well for something like an Evangelion figure, less so for a more human figure, but that's okay. So here's that little ball hinge I told you about, the shoulder pad. That just pegs into it, and it lets the shoulder pad move around, but it won't stay on. Same thing on this side, it just doesn't fall off on that side. For the shoulder itself, we have a big ball hinge, only a single one, no double joints like on Deadpool or Solid Snake, so that's okay. And so you get your bicep swivel out of there. You get pretty good range without the shoulder pad. With the shoulder pad, it's incredibly obtrusive, so it's going to get in the way a lot. It does move around, but not enough to really help that much, so be aware of that. For the elbow, you have your single jointed elbow, same type of joint, but on this figure, it works really well. The way they put it on there, it's fine. I don't mind it at all. I like it. You get way better than 90 degrees and full rotation at either end. For the wrists, we have the same type of joint, just a tiny one like on the shoulder, so no problems there, plenty of range of motion. For the upper torso, we have, you guessed it, another ratcheted ball hinge. It's a little hard to function, but it is in there. It's just kind of offset, so it's going to be a little tricky, but it gives you pretty good range. And that piece that it's on top of, this piece right here, is all soft, so it will, you know what, I'll just show you. So there's your ball hinge that's in there, so it has the ratchet going this way, and it's very stiff, so be careful. But then, of course, it'll rotate around on both pegs, and this whole piece is very soft, so it really won't get in the way too much. You should be okay. And then down here, still soft, we have another ball hinge, which lets him really bend over, and that's the one you're going to probably use the most. This upper one doesn't work that well. This one works way better, so full range there, and of course it has the full swivel and everything you could want. Again, the Revoltech designs, the engineering, the stylization, it works way better on a figure like this than on a humanoid, or a human. This is fairly humanoid. So, you know, it's pretty good. I have to say I kind of like it on this figure. The hips, they're fairly similar to how you would expect, or how the DBZ, the current DBZ figures work. We have a swivel, essentially, that lets the leg move forward and back, and you get really good range out of it. I think that's pretty nice. And then you have a ratchet that goes out to the side, which gives him that move. Now, it does drop the hip a little bit too low, kind of like the DC figures we've seen lately, but it's still functional, so that's good. And this piece right here just kind of fills in the gap. It's technically hinged, and it can come out. You can swing it down anyway, but you don't really want to do that. You want to leave that tucked in, so if you bring the leg out, make sure you tuck it back in as you bring the leg back in, so everybody's happy. You do have a thigh swivel, but it's not the best. It's pretty minimal, but it is there. For the knee, it's another single ball hinge. Really good range. A little obvious that there's a ball hinge there, but I don't think there's a better way to hide it, I guess. I guess this could have been hinged, but no big deal. It works well enough on this figure, and very good range, obviously, so that's fine. And then we have the same type of joint again for the ankle, which gives him really good range going back. Pretty good range going forward, and then you have your toe hinge, and of course, if you want to, you can rotate the foot around for a really nice ankle rocker. So that's pretty good. Is this guy actually articulated or just soft? I didn't look at it yet. Just soft, so that won't get in the way. So ultimately, it's a really solid figure, no pun intended, because that would be sarcasm if I meant it that way. Because it does fall apart a little bit too easily. I think you can look past it if you want to get the figure, because it looks freaking cool. If the shoulder pad didn't fall off, I wouldn't really have too much to complain about. Some of the joints are problematic, but for the most part, it functions really well. It looks really cool and has that really badass light-up moon thing, which I will show you at the end, and you probably already saw it if I overlaid a picture, which I hopefully remembered to do. So, there you go, guys. I do recommend it. I think you'll enjoy the figure a whole bunch. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. That helps me out a whole bunch, and it means a bunch to me, so please do that if you did. And if you're not subscribed, you probably want to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, click that little bell button next to the subscribe button. That will make sure you get notifications when I upload videos. YouTube's been messing up and unsubscribing people and not pushing notifications and stuff, so make sure that subscribe button is clicked, and make sure you have that notification button turned on also. That'll help you out, that'll help me out, and everybody will be happy. And you want to do that because I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so you want to come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.